to be featuring a comic book shop that's here in Hyde Park, Chicago, Illinois, Hyde Park neighborhood. The name of the shop is called First Aid Comics. First Comics. And it is a pleasure here in the city of Chicago. And let's see. Here it is. And the shop opened up down the street, way further around the corner down the street in 2008. And the owner, his name is James. And let's see, he opened it up in 2008 and he ended up moving here. And when he moved here, you see that this shop has two parts. This part here was the only part he actually had open. It was a small space. And he expanded to this part. And in 2000, when he moved in 2000 to the other shop, and he moved here in 2010. So he was only there for 2 years. And then he was in this small part here. Then later he was able to expand here because this side here was like a hairdressing place. Okay, so we're just going to go right in. Hours, business hours, if you want to know. And the first part, because I was here earlier, is the indie comics. We have a whole bunch of indie comics section. That's right here. I like this carpet. It's real comfortable on your as opposed to like the floor. And so, yeah, so like a lot of indie comics are here. You know, if you're into the indie comics. And the reason I kind of came here was I was just like looking for the mangas. Yeah. And here, difference. Like the guys who helped me out earlier. Here, the upcoming events. They have upcoming events where they kind of have it, tell you what's going on. They mark out days. And the reason for this, like this too, is that they have it's in a game room. It's up the stairs. Game. Hey. So James, okay. So you told me that you opened originally in the other in 2008.
Yes.
And then you came here 2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Okay, great. And what year did you open the second half?
I want to say 2012, maybe?
12. Oh,
I'm guessing.
where you expanded. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is the gaming room. This is a tabletop gaming room where we play tabletop games. The calendar that I showed you was the calendar that where they will have events on those certain days. In this room, and then any of the other days you can schedule to come and play games with friends and family. And yeah, so this is like for the tabletop game, which I didn't know was a thing. How many of you out there know it was a thing? Because I didn't know it was a thing. So interesting. And in this section, we have all the different mangas, and which if they do, you have to call in advance just to make sure that that they is what he told me, to make sure that they have it in stock, because they say actually like Solo Leveling and some of the more popular ones are kind of like are still like on baggers, or may have sold out, or maybe just hard to kind of to get. So they have the manga section. They have a whole lot, and These are the older comics that I have that are out of print, hard to get editions, and it's a small little room here. I mean, it's not, it's dedicated to this. They also, if you see, have accessories, small, you know, little, like small action figures, which is it's that. Yeah, so little action figures with books. And again, manga, more action figures. Board room or tabletop gaming room, which is a thing a lot of you didn't know does exist. I'm just now really, I heard of it, but I kind of thought it was more of the video games. That's what it was, more video games. So, and here, this is what I for actually the manga. If you want to get into any of that. Downstairs are the Marvel and DC comics. And we'll take a look. This is the overall store. Beautiful pictures that people draw. And this is the DC and the Marvel. It's out of order. It says Miss Peck. It's a Mr. Do. There are all the DC.
I'm having fun.
Wow. New releases that are coming. If you want to know what's coming for Indie, Marvel, DC, they have a free book day. A lot of other events that are coming. More DC comics. This is a great store. And again, I just wanted to feature, all of the stores around in Chicago that do manga, that do comic books, that do, things of that nature. And on this side is the Marvel Universe. DC, see graphics on this side, which is nice. More DC, the Batman, Superman, let's see. So here, X-Men, the X-Men X, which is great. Look at that, X Select. Ooh, see that.
I miss it when I was in Chicago.
Here's more. The Avengers, Captain Marvel. Oh wow. A lot here. They even have Storm of Days. You know what I mean?
I remember reading.
I just didn't realize how Phoenix Edition, how much everything has expanded. And there's really a treat here. See this guy here? He actually did the graphic designs of the Marvel comics. He did a lot of the art for the Marvel. And I just happened to catch him today on this Saturday as I was coming to do regular filming for the store. That these guys are here. This guy, I should say, is here. And there's another treat, that's here that I want to show you all. And like I said, I didn't know they were going to be. There was no announcement. There was a event that was happening kind of here. Because I guess if they would have known he was here, the store would be flooded with people, right? So, yeah. Yeah. There's even some Star Wars. Look at that Star Wars. X-Men. There's a whole world of X-Men stuff here. Wow. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know it was a thing. Look at that. New releases. Just new releases. That's why the universe could be haunted. Here, these are like in this section, looks like more like, like fairy tale, fantasy type books, comics. They also have the old comic racks. Yeah. A Superman riding Superman.
Hello.
Okay, hey. Hi.
Charles Gimasan. By the way, this is an amazing podcast. What you need to do is definitely hit that like button. If you don't, you're a dum-dum head. It's just my opinion. Right over here, I put government-funded comic books, but I also have handmade dice, develop board games, and have other cool stuff over here.
Okay.
Also have the amazing Steve Geiger. Steve Geiger worked on Marvel Comics, DC Comics. He used to be an art director too. We also have his lovely wife over here as well. But scan that over there. As Mr. Geiger is literally teaching the youth about the amazingness of comic books.
Wow.
Had to share that with you. And again, like the button, just press it down. Like we want him to have 1 million fans.
Right. Thank you.
6,000 a month or more. High five on that.
All right.
And realize, go to drive.autoclash.com. You can check out my board.
Yes.
Stay brilliant.
All right. You heard that right. So, yeah, look at that.
Too realistic is when you make it so realistic it looks like a film.
Look at that.
So what I do is I take realism and stretch it a little bit to make it more dynamic.
We have the Marvel comics.
Over sense. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
And you have a great day. And thanks for coming out and seeing me.
Okay.
I hope you really enjoy it.
He has a colleague of his in Buffalo that could help him see.
Oh, yeah?
Let's see.
Right.
You hear that, Steve? We'll get to him in a minute if we can. But I still want to show you the store. People are constantly coming in. There's Panther, Black Panther.
But I've got a lot of different characters.
What do you got?
Let's look at that artwork.
One of the first comics I got into was like an anime comic.
Okay.
So I think it's like comic like
And then you have
that.
things that he told you could
Marvel.
go to the website and
I believe this is whole design.
purchase.
What do you think of the Silver Surfer movie?
Okay.
Some surf movie.
No. Did you see the Silver Surfer?
And yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Here's the buttons.
You know,
For $1.50.
do you remember the show called Ozark?
Let's see.
He was the one that
playing the new Marvel shooter game.
Okay, yeah, so that was the door for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, that. That's a big market too, because
Okay, we're going back to the indie. I did want you to see the indie.
majority of them are that 30s, early 30s. So they talk about the video games that they play all the time and whatnot and all that type of stuff. And they're familiar with the Marvel Universe through the movies, but more so through the games.
Yeah,
Through the games. I don't know anything about that
yeah,
stuff.
because there were so many.
Just want you to all get a look.
Marvel fighting games in the 90s.
Yeah, yep. Yep. It's fantastic, man. I'm amazed. My
Look at
personal
that.
opinion is I'm amazed that it's
There's
actually
some more
a still
drawings.
functioning comic book world that exists. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a point, like he said, there was a point, and he said it, there was a point where comics they were on their way out. You know what I'm saying? So, for us comic nerds back then, you just preparing.
Yeah.
You know, so I started reading novels.
In that upcoming event
I'm serious,
board,
I started reading novels.
you didn't get it earlier?
And because I'm figuring, okay, I'm getting to be older, the comic book world is, it's going out. It's not going out.
Now this is almost a bit of like some, but not quite.
It almost.
That's Steve Geiger, he does the drawings.
So I started the transition was I started reading the novels. And then you find out that Marvel had started putting some of the storylines for the comics into novel format.
Yeah, do what?
Man, y'all try now, like, what's the word for
Start
the
counting.
Godfather? When I get out and they pull me back in,
This,
M&A.
so this
pull me back in.
is recreation slash
Then I meet James.
redo.
And James said, come on in.
Perseverance.
Like, yeah, you got some money in your pocket? Come on in.
Right, so this is the John Bernthal update, this is the John Way Home Armor update, and then the buildings are updated to Avengers.
I didn't. Is it okay to, because I don't want to give away any secrets, you know?
Here, this is the architecture in this.
And this is Christy, Steve's wife. And so she's giving me a little update on a lot of things here. Yeah.
Steve's worked for Marvel since 1984 to now. He was the Marvel art director for several years. He's worked for DC, Acclaim. Everything over there is all published. And currently he's giving a work lesson.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And here, I'm not going to tell his age, but I thought he was, I thought he was like in the 90s or, you know what I mean? Stuff like
Keep
that.
in mind he was 22
Yeah.
when he was for Marvel.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being 20 years old and drawing and being in charge of a department when he was in his 20s? It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And I'm glad to, it's an honor to have grown up under his designs and wow. Because that's what kept me buying stuff like that and kept me interested, the
And
designs.
they're signed, and then if you want to obviously the spot.
One of the biggest things with him is he's always pushing the envelope further.
Yeah.
Trying to do the next cover.
Yeah.
Even when
You have
it comes
Venmo or
to
anything like that?
any kind of commissions,
And
he
then we'll
does
do
always trying
Cash
to
App and then
push more.
Yeah. Yeah.
PayPal.
Hey Steve, this gentleman has some questions for you with his YouTube channel.
My name's Ed Mothershed.
How you doing?
Glad to meet you. Yes. Yeah. I just like
$500.
just you starting out, and what made your interest in doing comics and in this whole genre? Like, what interested you into getting into this, or was you just
Well,
drawing?
I liked comics growing up as a kid. But as I was telling somebody earlier, one of the things that I really liked more even than traditional comic books and traditional characters, superheroes, was Mad Magazine.
Ah, okay.
So, and I love, because I loved the parodies, the different art styles. They would have multiple artists in, the books that they had. So I particularly more Tucker, who did very cool caricatures of people that totally looked like them. They were obviously they were exaggerated in certain ways too, but they were spectacular. So I fell in love with his work, and then other artists, Jack Davis, and a lot of people. And Yeah, a lot of people, some people are were historians, but a lot of people are aware the magazine started as an actual comic book,
Yeah.
color comic book, and then they turned it into a magazine eventually.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that first, more than doing superhero comics.
Right.
I wanted to do that work and set work into Marvel version of it, got a rejection letter.
How old were
I
you?
did, I was 11, 12 at the time, maybe 12.
Wow. Yeah.
The thing where when I actually, and I was into the Spider-Man, animated series growing up in the 60s
Yeah.
and all that stuff that they did. I didn't really fall in love with comics and doing comic book characters and superheroes till the 70s show.
Yeah. Oh.
The Incredible Hulk with and then they had a Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
And then I started reading like the X-Men comics and then going back and finding out the whole Green Goblin, Killing Gwen Stacy books.
Yeah.
So I kind of rediscovered all that later as I got a little bit older.
Wow.
Loved it all. That's when I really started changing things over to doing superheroes, not because of the drawing, but because of the writing.
Yeah.
Of the story, so I would not only draw but create my own storylines with my character too.
Right. Okay.
And so that's when I really started getting into that. Was when I started getting into the actual comic books.
Okay.
Not the version I saw on TV as a little kid, but
Right.
more of what was behind it.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started really wanting to do comic books and comic superheroes.
Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. Oh man, it's just amazing. So, do you find yourself still and writing and drawing and everything now still?
So I'm actually I don't have, unfortunately my iPad is on the fritz and not charging, or I would give you a sneak peek of a character I created, writing and drawing called Snow.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm from Buffalo.
Okay.
That's like a weather phenomenon. We get there a lot. But born in Niagara Falls.
Okay.
Falls, so.
Oh, okay.
Not in the city, but in the actual physical Niagara Falls. And so I'm working on that right now.
Okay. Oh,
Excuse me, a publisher lined up for it. And
Yeah.
we just get working on the story, and then we're
okay.
gonna get onto the artwork.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's gonna be a pleasure to see it. It's gonna be great to see
Yeah,
it.
hopefully it's gonna be really interesting and different. It's gonna have a lot of stuff that ties into Buffalo, but
Yeah.
also Iroquois mythology.
Yeah.
Important
Okay.
to Niagara Falls and Buffalo surrounding areas.
Yeah.
And maybe the myth, which is a boat ride that you can take to go to the falls.
Yeah.
It's actually based though on your myth about a maiden who throws herself over the falls and then get into an arranged marriage.
Mhm.
That has a lot to do with where my character starts from.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of
Oh,
mythology
yeah.
surrounding the falls.
Oh, that's, yeah. The best. Yeah, from myths. All right. Yeah. Oh, it was a yeah. Go. No, go.
Anything else going on in Geiger? Anything going on at this summer?
Oh,
Nope,
yeah.
nope, not that one. The other one.
He also did a cover for Hot Hills of Bachelor's Grove.
Oh.
Your
Oh.
comic.
Right here.
There you go.
Wow.
She's a psychopath. Married to a congressman, and her deal is she kills monsters, and she discovered they exist, and it's easier to get away with murder. She's also
Okay.
But
Wow.
she tends to keep her victims to. You did you mention she's able to decipher demons hiding in human form? That's what she comes down.
Okay.
And then she hangs her trophies in this tree at Bachelor's Grove.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Where's this club again, Charlie?
it's Midlothian on 143rd and Ridgeland Avenue, or Narragansett, as some others like to call it.
Oh,
Those are the
right.
I'm not-
Okay.
He has another secret
Which one?
amongst the Geiger activities. What are you doing in summer? In college.
Oh, that was what I was going to talk about, but you said no.
Oh, I thought you were going there for the other thing.
No. So beginning last summer, in August, and we're going to be doing it this year in July. I do a comic camp on the campus Buffalo State University.
Okay.
Which is where alma mater, and that's where I went to college and graduated.
Okay.
And so I do a 2-week course there now, but it's high school students.
Okay.
But they get a piece of the campus life by coming, every day for 2 weeks during the week.
Okay.
And we run it from morning to about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
Break for lunch.
Okay.
It's work intensive, and we try to get them to create either come in with an idea that they want to kind of expound upon, and then we work on the art, but also the storytelling. I work with a English teacher, Vicky Rulo, who she focuses on helping them develop their story, getting the structuring right, talking about the various elements of storytelling, and from a writing standpoint, some of the devices, literary. As we go through all that in the early part, and then we finish off the course by getting into the penciling, inking, and coloring. Hopefully,
Okay.
some of them don't get that.
Right. From ground. From
So we've been doing that, and kind of an expansion, and based on I did long ago at Marvel, where Carl
I've been here for quite a while.
who was a Marvel editor at the time, developed a course for
I did.
aspiring
Doing
artists.
pretty good for an old man.
Art training for Release Rangers, which was the
Twenty.
program.
How much
Right.
do I owe
So
you?
it kind of
okay.
we
No,
I
no,
started
So,
then with
say
him,
they just-
and then some of the elements were
High school
I do now.
Oh,
They're
okay.
tailoring it
was
to
my-
teaching younger kids
That
in
was
this
my house.
in this particular case
Right.
versus young
Found what
adults
you
that
needed.
are
Yeah. It's
trying
in
to
order.
be,
I
art
got them in
apprentices
order,
at
man.
Marvel.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you do, like, say, your drawings, do you collaborate with, like, say, like, I know he's Stan Lee passed, right? Stan, like people like
I never
Stan.
did any work with Stanley. I worked a lot with Bill Mantlo when I was breaking.
Okay.
He was the guy who did Nazi.
You know what I'm saying? So I said, I just went in, came
what
up,
was
went up
another
the
one?
front, went up,
Did,
came
it was
down the back,
another.
and got one, jumped on.
He might have worked on Transformers.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely though
He was
was
lucky
with
the bus
Micronauts
was
was a
coming.
big thing
Right.
for him.
Okay.
And he was doing a
So it was
lot of
destined
writing
to
for
happen.
Marvel in the
Yeah,
late
see?
70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
He had a
Kind of
terrible
like,
accident,
yeah.
unfortunately, and cut his
Oh.
writing career.
Okay.
Comics. Although he was already transitioning to being a lawyer,
Oh.
he had a bad incident with being hit by a car and
Oh. Wow.
Manhattan.
Wow.
So that was not good for him.
Yeah.
But he taught me a lot, and I worked off of basically Marvel back in those days did more plots. And Victor Dandridge, if you somehow see this, we had a big discussion about full script versus plotting online a couple weeks back. In fact, I think we're going to try to do a panel sometime when we're together,
Okay.
where we're going to discuss this very subject and bring a few others in, talking about the differences between working from a script or working from a plot.
Right.
Well, you know,
Okay.
I'm gonna want to jump in.
Oh, no, no.
I'm actually, huh?
Or DJ, not
Yeah.
AJ.
Oh,
Sorry.
DJ's book for you to sign, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Bring him in. Bring him
Sorry, I
in.
know I
know
called
what?
you
I'm a
AJ.
writer.
DJ. Sorry.
I'm an amateur writer.
Okay.
Me and my buddy started writing comics we started doing comics. You know, we're both comic book fans. I'm working on trying to be a writer, and what happened was when the responsibility became because it's like he had to draw, right? So it's like he threw it all away. So he's like, and I'm like, okay, he wasn't giving me enough, to write the script. And then I was like, and then he was thinking about.
Well, wait, hold on. Let me backtrack. So he was the artist, but he was what to write?
Yeah, he was.
See,
No, he wasn't telling me what to write. He was his character. It was
Oh,
his-
okay.
it
So
was
he
his
wanted you to
character.
write his
He wanted me to
character forward.
create the world. I'm thinking about just writing a comic book. I'm just thinking about writing a book. But I sat back and I'm thinking about it. And I'm going, okay. He told me the character. He gave me the background, but anything else, the background, the world. You know what I'm saying? So he said, well, I'm going to do one issue. I said, well, the idea that I have is not going to fit into one issue. I said it's going to be at least issues.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept saying three issues. I'm like, yeah, I got a big lethal weapon like stuff.
Before you leave, young one. Before you leave, this out. Steve Geiger from Marvel Comics is here.
How you doing?
Yeah, but I had my story. The story idea that I had 3 issues long. 3
Right.
issues long. I'm not gonna cry. I was like, and then he said, well, for it. And I started writing, and when I started writing it, it could have went into 4 issues. It could have went into a whole. and I-
Typically, interesting. Most limited series are 4 issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
And back, well, you know, it's an independent. It was an
Mhm.
independent book. So I'm writing this thing, and I'm going. And I appreciate the experience so much. I do. I didn't know. We had written one book, but when I wrote that, I didn't understand the whole. Like you said, what you just said. You said script versus
Plot.
plot.
Yeah.
So I wrote the whole script with the vision movie in my head
Mhm.
because I couldn't. It was harder for me to adapt to a comic book idea, even though it's a comic book. It was comic book oriented. So I wrote it as a full. I wrote 3 issues of scripts
Right.
as full 40.
How did that work out? Did he like it?
Yeah, he liked it. Yeah, he loved it, and I think it came out better as opposed to doing the plot thing because that would have been like he threw it to me, and the only thing he wanted to do really was work on the art because he's an artist.
Mm.
He does sequential art, so he's very good at that. So I'm going okay now. And it taught me actually how to write scripts, how to write a script because I didn't think of it from the standpoint of a comic book script.
Mhm.
I thought about it as a movie.
Right.
So I started studying screenplays. I started looking at screenplays. I started looking at comics that had come out and the difference between plot and script. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like what's his name? Busick for with him and Reyes?
Marv Wolfman?
No, not Marv Will. Busick. What's his name?
Oh,
Busick.
Busick.
Busick. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
No, you're.
Busick, and I love Busick's scripts because when you do the script like that, you have everything in there that you need, the dialogue, everything. So you're looking at that. I'm looking at that, and I'm going, well, this is close to a screenplay.
Mhm.
This is close. This is really close to a screenplay.
Well, initially DC was known more for full script. Marvel was the place that just plot, worked from
Yeah.
plot.
Yeah.
I think it's more gone to full script now on both sides.
On both sides?
I think because the editorial control might be a little bit more
Strict.
and hands-on than it used to be back in the day at Marvel.
Mhm.
They would sometimes I personally came into the business doing some plots for Marvel, so I found that for me it gave me some freedom because one of the things that pacing is important.
Point. Yeah.
You know,
Yes, sir.
so how, and I don't, writers can pace, but what about it?
Okay. To this?
I mean,
All right. What's your chance? Get up
Okay.
and get the stop sign.
This here has to be.
Okay.
Steve did a commission. This is a commission. Commissioning comments. He loves it. It's great. He's all for us. What does Steve do? This is what the guy thought he was getting. This is actually what he's getting.
Okay.
This explains what it's like being a comic book artist life. So you go into the studio, you find this, everybody's happy with it, you run away with it. He steals it back and does this to it.
Artists,
Wow.
I get a script, but I also told
but it's better, right? I mean, it wasn't before, but there was some things lacking. Also, that was an experiment. That was the first time I had worked with. So let me talk
Venom.
about this. Can you see this? All right, so this is a Venom commission.
Let's go to here. So the guy comments, he's very happy with this.
And
He wants to settle up. He's good. I looked at it. He was good. He was good. He was just the final or settling up. Of course that's not done. So when I tell you guys, so when I say,
Look at the drool
hold
the
on,
guy
wait.
added in there. Look at the.
All right,
It's,
hold on. Go back. All right. So when I tell you that I send you a picture and I say, oh yeah, it's good, we're done. We're all good.
No, I think we can
This
all
is what
agree
he
that
ends
this
up
is
doing.
much blander looking than this. Right? So this was me experimenting with
He was he could
metallic Sharpies, but all in different colors. You can see a red one, a blue one, silver, and then a whiteout pen. A little green thrown there too for some venom.
The Empire Strikes Back, right?
But
This is when we
was
turn
me
into Prince, so you guys just
experimenting
know
and
this now.
just getting to use them and
What
learn
does
how
he
to
do?
use them.
He gets
A black cover, right? So started with scratch, rough pencil, and then just went to town with the markers.
And he gets
I
Lawrence Kasdan.
I don't know. I think everybody can see a big difference between.
Oh, we see the big difference.
Hey.
That's also what I mean when I say he's doing something and he's not giving it back to me.
I got it fast.
True artists. See?
It's almost the first one.
Actually, you know,
Okay.
where are we gonna be in? Where are we going to be in June?
We are going to actually be in June, July,
July,
end of July.
Is that also
Right.
But June's happening. There's something in June.
No, you're right. It's the last week of June. We are going to be at home
Okay.
in
By the way.
Buffalo City Comic Con.
Why did Darth Vader marry the
Do you see
Wicked Witch of
this?
the West?
I'm gonna make this a limited edition print. We're going to include the underpinning because it's hilarious, along with the finish, and we'll same thing that we've been doing with these ones. And I've also been playing with something fun, so make sure you guys keep an eye on the page. It'll be limited to 50 of them.
You're going to have to send this to us, okay?
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah.
So getting back to our discussion on the difference between doing
That's the difference between a writer
the
and
script and the plotting. As an artist, I felt a little more freedom because it allowed me to do the pace
Right.
Yeah.
instead of relying on the writer to do the pacing.
Right, yeah.
He would describe. So let's say I would get 5 pages, and I would have to encompass everything he described within that 5 pages.
Okay.
That allowed me to break down into what went on each page, what if I wanted to do a splash here, or if I wanted, you know what I mean? For dramatic effect versus just pure storytelling. Because just pure storytelling was not necessarily the Marvel way. That was the DC way.
Yeah, I got you.
Marvel was how do we push that now, right? Which I appreciated having the freedom to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So that was the difference for me. It was important that the story was clear, and that was a big thing that I made sure. You have to not breaking the 180 rule, for instance, things like that.
What's that? The 180 rule.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing. Stephen King,
Yeah.
who directed a movie called Maximum Overdrive, had a discussion with. That was his first movie.
Love that movie.
Right?
It's so stupid.
So he had a discussion with David Lynch because he was having issues on it, right? David Lynch started talking to him about different things, and Stephen King was not aware of a thing, the 180 rule.
Yeah.
Basically, it is when you have, let's say, the 2 people are sitting, you and Chris, talking,
Right.
Right, can you show them? Okay, so
Yeah.
illustrated. All right.
Blah, blah,
No,
blah,
no. Let's go opposite. You gotta be like far enough apart. On this end.
Okay.
You're over here.
Am I sitting or am I
So
standing?
you're gonna have, generally speaking, you're gonna have 3 cameras in this
Right.
kind of scene. You're gonna have one that shows the 2 of you, collective in a shot, right? Then you're gonna switch between dialogue.
Right.
One camera here at her,
What would it be?
and then another camera. Sorry.
Which one?
Over. No, you don't turn. You keep the way you are. Then another camera here at you. Okay. So you'll point one of those cameras over on this side,
Right.
because then you'll be confused in your storytelling. So this is the 180 line. You cannot go past it with your cameras. All 3 of your cameras have to remain on this side.
Here,
of it.
Steve. If you want a hug, I'll hug you. He's like,
That's husband and wife. Aww. A hug of Steve Geiger by his wife happening here in First Aid Comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good experience for me though. It was a really good experience because writing the script, I had just wrote my stories, and then once I realized I was gonna have to write a script for his comic book.
Now, in your script, did you say things like this is be a full page splash?
No, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. No. Well, I did. We did. Once we sat down. After I wrote it, and he would actually sometimes draw it and then come and we would have conferences where we would sit down and we would write that on there. This is going to be a full page splash.
Okay, so then you guys worked. You came up first with the script. That's really not how you ended up working, though. Because then you took that full script and you started to alter it or to
Right.
laying it out as a comic book versus a film,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Because unless you're doing, the multiple images at once thing, which you can do in film, they do it all the time, like a big bunch of separate images with going on, playing together, right on the screen, popping in and out. Generally speaking, you're mostly just going to get one image at a time in a movie,
Okay.
right? So everything in its way is a splash page in a movie, unless it's been divided up, like I said, with the little multi-frame thing going on, which sometimes they do. You don't really just have something that's going to separate it. So what you need to do then is separate your shots, right, to make it impactful. So if you're going back and forth in a conversation,
You know what I wish? I
you're cutting else.
I wish I had. I got the script at home and I got the pages that he did. I wish I had brought them. So you can
go
look
to
at
Chicago.
Wait, we're at home again.
Home.
Really, they just sit around, don't just sit around and collect dust.
I want to see this comic book.
What is the reason?
I'm sorry, I didn't. I have. You know what happened was I used to pass them out to people, and then I found out, disappointingly enough, people. I was telling somebody at my job. When the book first came out, I'm excited about it. The people are walking around saying, "Oh my God, you wrote a comic book? Can I get one?" You get one person, you sell that to that one person, and then everybody else who was not interested. Everybody else who was not interested.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. So Charles is also a publisher.
Okay.
And I want to see this since we already have the pages and you're telling us about it.
Okay.
You two need to get together because I want to actually hold a physical book again.
Okay.
And I can tell you that Charles's publishing company.
Who did you publish it through?
We published it ourselves.
Yourself?
Yeah, we did it ourselves. That was back in the early '90s. Man. It was in the early '90s, and it was a great experience for me because I'm an artist too.
Yes.
And I'm primarily a writer. I had put myself down to be the writer.
Again.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take his number down. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to carry him around with me all the time.
That's how you get it done.
Well, no, it got done. Well, you know why it didn't get done?
No, look.
What? What's
I noticed them.
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
You know the reason why?
Oh, he's after the Red Hulk.
You know the reason why it didn't get it actually never got published?
This is Steve Geiger, artist from Marvel Comics.
Good. What's going on?
Sorry for the interruption.
This is all of his works on the table.
How's theirs going to be this year, do you think?
Awful.
We're gonna beat you.
But they can't get no worse.
Now, you know, this could be a battle between New York and Chicago right now, you know?
He's a Mets fan.
The Bears are football.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's a girl. She's a girl.
Excuse me?
Nothing. Oh, wait. You're upset that you're a girl?
I am a lady at anything.
Forgive.
I know my
I am a woman, Dr. Brewster.
Yes. Watch my floppies flop as I did.
You know, any idea what that's from?
No.
Tootsie.
That's right. That is so funny.
Okay.
Yeah, well, actually, you know what I found? Interesting thing I found is that I couldn't choose which one. But then I realized I had bought a second printing, so you could just sign. You could just sign your name in that box. You know, and I got that's both of those.
Very cool.
And that third
What do you
one?
have? What's over there?
This one is just a regular printing,
Uh-huh.
but I forgot that I had a second copy. So
this one, look, this is. It must have been direct marketing or direct release.
So this
really
here
sure.
is Steve's 2 Batman covers he did for DC Comics.
Oh, okay.
So when you get in the archives of Geiger archives, you discover all kinds of fun things that he
Wow.
doesn't tell you about. This was one of them. But
Do you
Neil
want to
told me to
sign
keep
or do you want
digging.
to
no, just your signature. Just
Wow.
your signature.
The new adventure is on.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, over the years when you
All right, I'm
do
gonna let you do
things,
this.
like it comes back
Okay.
like
By the
later
way,
to be like,
let's
oh
talk
yeah, I
about-
remember that.
And while I've got everybody here, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I got.
Comic collectors all around, please stop doing this for the love of God. I'll tell you why.
What do we stop doing, Steve?
Get the restrict tape.
Oh, even
Yeah.
on that?
Actually, what a lot of these are.
No, there are other ones. You can buy other bags that have a tape on
Yeah,
them.
I know. I have those now.
And that you need to get because, all right,
That's-
so
that
the
was-
tragic story of
Oh,
a guy
right,
who
Ben, that was
brings
so
Yeah, I
sad.
know.
a comic with 10 signatures from people who worked on the book.
One of them made
And then as he's
Stanley.
putting it back into the bag, catches the front of the cover
Yeah.
on the tape,
And ripped off.
tearing off part of one of the names, and thus,
Ruining the book.
so let's not make that mistake, people.
Yeah.
Get the ones that have the
Well, you know what?
pre-seals on them, okay?
You know what I've got to do? I've got to sit down
Great tip.
now with all these books and,
And load them.
They got to be there. Yeah.
Load 'em.
Yeah.
He's making you open them for him to sign them.
Yeah, I will be happy to sign them for you, but I'm not.
Those are not yours.
And how
See,
much
that's
is
the
it
thing.
for comics?
How much?
$10.
$10?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And if I want, I buy these from you.
You buy
You'll
those?
buy those from me,
Okay.
and then I'll sign them for you for $10.
Okay.
And these
Yeah.
two are, put those back in mine.
And if you get a red poster from him, both of us will sign it because.
Whoa. Oh, it's okay. I'm having a big problem. This has been falling down all day.
That's because they're drunk.
I was cutting your cake. And now his cake goes right in the middle of the thing.
Eventually, I gotta get this back.
How cool is this?
But yeah, you buy the comic book from him and then you bring him
Oh, you know what it is? Usually it's on fabric, it's on plastic tabletop.
Sorry.
Yeah.
wow.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Just so you know, there is one Hulk that he did not. Do you want this Hulk yourself? Are you running off with this Hulky?
We should
Or are you keeping the Hulky? Or are you giving
talk to Mr. Jimmy.
Oh, speaking of,
I just got Jimmy to
find
What
out.
song is that?
Oh!
Mr. Jimmy.
have
What
knuckles?
is that?
Look,
Being always.
look,
You can't
look.
always get
He
what
brought
you
you
want. I went to wait.
Look,
We had
a
our
non-tape one to put it back.
we had
There
a
you go.
soda, my favorite flavor. Stand in line with Mr. G. That's what it is.
See, sing us something
All right.
good.
Okay.
I want to
So
see comic book artist today.
Well, and the secret signature too.
The 25.
The
secret.
secret color, which can
oh,
only be seen in black.
so we'll do
and
that in red. We can do that in the red.
Why are you double signing?
Because
Why are you
Because
signing
it's
over
fun.
top of it?
no,
Well,
because we're giving that we so you can see the red.
oh.
So these are
So if you use
special.
black light, it will appear in black light.
This is just me being fun. I give Steve fun things to play with.
Here. Run over. We'll see if we can show everybody. So this is my first time
Isn't
playing
there
with
you-
these.
You incredibly happy.
Oh, look at
Oh,
that.
yeah. I was happy when I get an artist to sign the book. Woo! You know, especially
Secret Siggy.
especially
Secret Siggy.
actually celebratory because what happens is I just bought my last 3 issues of Detective
Yes.
that would police the run from 73 up until the,
Wow.
Wow.
yeah. So
All right. Hey.
the Batmans are from 73.
I feel like we should have a medal.
Wow.
Word for him.
Oh, you don't? Usually, I've been going to conventions so many years, and if the wife is there,
Oh, yeah.
she's usually the one. She's usually the one that takes the money.
So you're used to
He's a
it.
traditional, he's like, money.
Well,
And
there's
she can
different.
spend it.
I don't have to do
Yeah,
that because he
when
just
she
gives
did,
me.
there was a sound effect that was like in Simpsons. Yo.
Don't take your money from me. I leave you with your cash.
Only a third of it.
He's the real estate
A
and the
third.
bonds.
More like eight. Oh, which reminds me, if anybody's looking to have adorable, cute little kittens,
Yeah.
let me grab my phone. So these guys are gonna come with all kinds of special stuff. Are you on my phone?
Yeah.
They're with custom Marvel
All right, they're both
birth
double-sided.
certificate for the kittens.
Oh,
Each
wow.
kitten will have a birth certificate
You're
that's a
welcome.
limited edition
I'm gonna
for
let you put
them.
them back
Yeah,
on.
the-
This is,
With that tape, man.
Okay.
there is Wednesday. That's Rohax.
Tuck them in. Do you-
As you can tell, they're getting weighed. Give me one.
Okay.
DJ,
Oh, good, nice to meet you too, dude.
And this is how comfortable Bunny is with another cat. This is our personal kitten. This is Angel. He's 4. And this is Bunny that he's playing with.
So what would you?
He is
did you
not
already
the
hit your
baby
books?
daddy.
Yes, I got it.
So what do you have there?
I got 2.
Okay. Well, thank
Woo-hoo.
you. Would you also leave the signature on this?
Here's all 4
Oh,
of the
yes.
kittens.
Now the secret signature.
That's
But these guys, again, if you're interested in adopting them, you can email us at evilgeiger@gmail.com. There will be a vet requirement, and we are working with a agency to help us find them good homes.
Okay.
Folding,
Um,
cover,
Right.
fix it.
they will be coming to you fully
Here's
neutered.
my suggestion.
and update on all of
Find
their
the
shops.
heaviest books
Okay.
you
Yeah.
can
So their
find.
first shots will
Stack
be
them
done.
up under there for like
Okay.
2
Weeks.
weeks.
I got it.
So if you want a kitten,
Rest of your life.
so
A special Geiger kitten that has
Okay.
a limited edition
Okay. So
marker
we'll do the,
certificate for
Wow.
the kitten.
yeah.
do the regular.
There will only be 4 in the entire world.
All right.
and we'll-
We're never doing this again.
So spread this quick.
She said, she's doing it again,
Listen, I doubt that we're gonna have another cat break into our house.
but possible.
After flooded.
Yes, yeah.
Noah came and said, let's try this again. Well, Noah did.
Instead of 2 of everything, though, you just get cats.
Right.
No, actually, no. Our house flooded the downstairs and the upstairs, done, and then with an inspector, and we just discovered in the corner.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll do this.
Listen, everything's better with a kitten.
Working
Yeah.
out good. All right, so do it on the big watcher dome here.
Are you doing the secret signature too?
Yep, I will do that because I can do blue on this.
So, one of my favorite what ifs was seeing what watchers watch the watchers watching the watchers the watchers.
Who watches the watcher?
Can you show you how that works?
And they're all just looking at each other in mirrors and stuff, and yeah, it could be very funny at times.
Yeah, that is. Who's watching the watchers?
Yes, the watchers watching the watchers, and then the watchmen say, "What about us? Oh, you're just man, you're not watchers."
Right.
And then this one guy comes with all these watches, and he's repairing them. And says, "Look, I'm a watcher. Look, I'm fixing them. I'm a." And then the big watcher's like, "Get out of here. We can't stand you."
I appreciate it.
Yes.
You're
in trouble for everything.
Oh yeah, look at that. See that?
Oh, that's
Secret Secret.
The secret signature.
Thank you so much.
I love it.
Questions for the comic shop owner.
Oh, actually, he answered
Yeah,
my questions earlier.
you can answer more questions.
More questions.
Ask him a new one.
Yeah.
He loves it. He hates being at that register, except collecting your moolah.
Cash. Hard cash.
That makes him happy.
So yeah.
Cash money.
Patient.
Cash.
Steve,
Cash.
I have a question for you. How did it feel working for one of your mentors, someone who you respected immensely, and then being put in charge of a department that had his name attached to it?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's an amazing question. Is
She's
that from one of your fans out there?
No.
Oh,
No, Christine.
I thought it'd be more cool. If one of your fans.
Right.
We're
Oh,
actually watching.
There is a whole list of questions.
Well, this is
that
on
we can
his
ask.
phone. This is my fans will not be watching it on his phone.
Oh, this?
There's a whole list.
My fans will hopefully be watching. You can send it to me, and then I'm
Right.
going to rerun this a little bit later.
Listen, fans. Watch
Well, this is
this.
answering their questions that has been sent to you via Twitter.
So
page.
what she's referring to is working as first apprentice under John Ramita. It was one of my things I did in comics.
Junior.
Senior.
There you go.
And then later working under him as the managing art director about 6 years, 7 years after that,
Oh, okay.
for 5 years.
What
Wow.
was the,
Yeah.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
What was the most important thing you learned from him?
From John Ramita,
Yeah.
Sing by yourself.
when doing portraits, always flatter the subject.
Okay.
We did one of the things I did when I was working with him, managing art director. We would do birthday cards, things like that. You know, hey, you're retiring, whatever, right? And one of the things he said was, when you're working on somebody's portrait, do the most flattering version of them you can, because everybody's going to walk away feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't take on the, no, I cannot do that. It must be real. I must get every zit and mole on that person's face. You know.
But they look like a giant buttocks.
I got one more question for you. I got one more question for you. And it's funny, it's something that happened. We had an artist coming here one day.
And it wasn't us.
Well,
No,
by
it
the
wasn't
way,
you guys.
there were many other things with John, specific things to do with, you know, comics, especially women. By the way, this is a little. So the thing that got me hired as his apprentice was in a tryout I did, which is the this Vision tryout story. I had done a Scarlet Witch at the end, and I just threw in myself unscripted.
Okay.
Because it was Vision after at the end of the mission in the story in solving the problem, flying off the and I had her kind of like in the clouds as like a thing, and she's on his mind as he's flying away. It was based on Marion Gravate as the playmate of the year around that time, and he loved it so much that that's what actually got me in the door.
Oh. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
They tell you not to draw good-looking women. Well, at least if your boss is John Ramita, you'll get hired.
Right.
Hey, did he use what was his favorite? Well, I read somewhere, but I can't remember. What was his favorite brush, or was it more along the lines of a pencil?
Pencil things out first, and then he would ink. A lot of times with
a brush.
Yeah, those guys, and they had such great control. Old
Yeah.
school brush users. I use, pens because they have different weights on them. I did some brush. I didn't have the kind of control. I was doing a lot of crow quill.
Okay.
Like that Batman cover that you just had me sign. That was a crow quill pen.
Okay. Okay.
He also uses French curves. Ooh la la.
I do quite a bit actually.
La French.
I'm gonna be taken away.
Yeah. All right, guys, jigs up.
Okay.
The reason I brought up this artist is because this artist came in here one day and he said,
Why do they want to do that?
he showed it. He was showing his work, and he's saying he's showing.
Was
his
it
work.
some well or just like an artist that came?
He made a friendship. He had a friendship with George Perez.
Okay.
Oh boy.
So he said he had a relationship with Perez, and when he came in the door, I think James or somebody had said something about, or I don't know who it was, but oh yeah, he says I'm better. I'm much better than the son. No, first it was Junior. And he said, "Oh yeah, I'm much better. I'm a much better artist than Junior." And he said, "To tell the truth, I'm a much better artist than the dad too." So
I don't know that George Perez's son ever.
No, not his son. No. This is not. No, this is a guy.
But you said who was he referring to?
He was referring to John Ramita
Oh, okay.
Junior and Senior. He said he was an associate. The conversation.
Of George. Okay.
He said he knew. He
was trashing both.
He was
senior
trashing
and
it, but
junior.
then I thought about it. Wait a minute. I am a long John Ramita fan. One of the things is, when I was young, got me was when you.
A lot of people don't know his nickname is Long John Ramita.
I'm sorry. I was a big fan when I was a kid. He is the one responsible for me getting into comics and then staying into comics. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know. Yeah, he made you what you are as a party as an artist. But what was funny for me, and the guy was I can't take anything. He was a decent artist. But one of the first things I noticed, one of the very first things I noticed when he was doing his work was that he did not have the clean lines that Ramita had. Ramita had the clean lines. He made to me as a kid and even as an adult, he made me feel like Spider-Man, there was a real person in that suit.
The interesting thing about John, so you was originally on it before John, right?
Yeah.
Ditko.
See Ditko, yeah. I came in, my era for Spider-Man was in the 70s. I came in with John Byrne. You know what I'm saying?
John Byrne was awesome. I got some great stories with John.
Well, the reason why I bring it up is that, so for a lot of people feel Ditko actually a more realistic Spider-Man in the way that they came across as real people. Whereas when John was doing it, they were more glamorized. Like, I told you, John.
And McFarlane was caricaturized.
Well, he was going back more to Ditko. Right. Ditko was not known for the beauty of his character.
Yeah.
He was known for the darkness, the weirdness a little bit. He created Doctor Strange also.
Yeah. Right.
And the hand gestures. You know what I mean? There was a certain, I wouldn't say awkwardness, but a certain.
Yeah. That's how I feel. There was a certain. looking at
quirkiness. Let's call
Yeah,
it quirkiness. That John's work didn't have. John's work was not quirky. John came from comics.
Yeah, right. I
So
remember that,
everything was glamorized.
Right.
What John did,
Yeah.
including the villains. You know, like Doc Ock that was drawn by Steve Ditko was an ugly MS, right? It was not attractive. But when John
Well,
got him, he somewhat glamorized him a little.
Yeah.
He still wasn't the most attractive person, but he didn't look that pug ugly like
Right.
the one that did.
Yeah, I remember.
And,
Yeah.
and so so when I say he was more realistic, is not everybody is a movie star. John kind of drew everybody like they could be movie stars, you know,
Right.
or movie stereotypes, right? Like Aunt May.
Yeah.
Where I think Ditko more the everyday person look, right? Even down to Peter Parker. Peter Parker, John's Peter Parker was, you know, glam cover boy by the time he was done.
Yeah.
Whereas when it first started with Steve Ditko, he was a nerd, and he looked like a nerd.
Yeah.
He didn't look like Flash Thompson,
Yeah.
right? He wasn't necessarily considered a good-looking guy, right? Which is so. That's I think that's always been a little debate about the differences in style.
Yeah.
But John was the one that shot him to start his.
I even today, matter of fact, I bought he ordered in the artesian edition, done by IDW, the artesian with John's. I mean, I got the first. I've been waiting for the second one. I couldn't figure out what happened to the second one. Well, the second one just came out not too long ago. And what I love looking at that is, you look at the comic, right? You look at the comic, and then you look at that, and you see all his pencil lines and the blue pencil and all that. As a matter of fact, the reason why when I started drawing, I was using a pencil, right? I was using a pencil. And that really was not fun. I mean, I'm drawing, I'm having, fun. I saw some that started with, the blue pencil. And I started drawing with that, and my buddy said, wow, this is just a big difference. For some reason, that blue pencil is just, I got more out of that. I think I even got a little bit better using that blue pencil. But now, I'm sorry. But now I'm looking at his pencils from the artesian editions, and I'm loving it because you can see, you can almost see his creation of it. You know what I'm saying? How I'm not going to say how he came.
I just want to interject. John's watching John work from his guidelines and the way he builds characters and a scene and all that. Right? I just I don't know that he gets enough credit as a draftsman. Besides doing great glamorized versions of characters, he's also an extremely good draftsman when it comes to backgrounds and perspective, all that.
I picked up on that. I felt that when I was a kid, reading this stuff. It wasn't just, I wasn't just reading a comic. It's like when I opened, there was one comic I remember where Spidey is sitting on the edge of a building. He's sitting and he's got his mask off. And he's sitting there and he's grieving or whatever Peter Parker does. And it's like when you open it, it's like opening a piece of what's the word I'm trying to find? Not just art, but somebody who totally understood this whole thing about drawing. Look at like, okay, there were other art, but nobody ever made me feel the magnitude of the vision the way he did. His vision was just, you're going, this is a comic book. Well, so why is it that I feel like it's almost short of being the Mona Lisa? You know what I'm saying?
Well, one of the things you did bring up, and this is true to his work, I think John better with street level stuff than the cosmic stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think
I love the comic stuff.
we get right, but Kirby and Buscema are more known for their cosmic work.
Over the top.
Where I think a lot of his best work was more grounded in the real world, like you said.
Yeah.
It's a glamorized version of the real world, but the real world nonetheless. They do some cosmic things, but I don't believe that is the stuff he's best remembered for.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, he did the day strip and the newspaper.
Yeah, you know what? That's another thing. I remember being a kid, and I remember telling my little brother, was doing a paper route, and I told him. I remember telling him, I said, every day you got to bring me a paper home, and he's like, okay? Because I'm not talking about I'm a big paper fan or anything like that. So what he did was he brought me a paper every day, and that was when Ramita was doing those. And you know, I had collected enough of those where I put them in this thing. I have in this thing, and now they sit up, and it just always reminds me of how much I loved his art.
Jimmy, James.
James.
Yes,
Yeah, you go by Jimmy at all or James?
James.
Oh, okay. Somebody called you Jimmy earlier, so I apologize. Do you know of? Are you aware of a collection of his John Ramita's comic strips from the dailies?
I do. I have one. I have the original.
Was
From the
published?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have.
Because I've never
They
seen
did it. Well, you know,
I've never seen one. I'm
Yeah,
sure
you know
it's
what? They
huge,
did.
but-
They did them. Actually, they did them in novel form. They did them in novel form. I have that, and they did them in in a bigger version. You know, like the books around here.
the
like,
treasury size?
Yes, not like treasury size. Something like
Like the wedding one up there. There's a John Ramita right
well,
there.
not so big as that, but it was like a nice thick one, and they put them on. I just found it. I forgot I had it. So they did publish them in, but that was way before. I collected them in the newspaper. I collected them, man. I have them all. I got them all in this frame. You know, I put them all in there, and I just put them all in there. And now, whenever I walk through my apartment, if I get out the shower, you know, whatever I'm doing, and I turn and I look at that, and I just go, wow. His work was so inspiring. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
You know, it was. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, of course you.
Well, see, okay. So by the way, we were talking earlier too about. So that was another thing that got me into doing comic books versus the mad stuff. Was when he started doing the daily strip, and you know, it was ran in the Buffalo where I'm from, and I loved that. Like, it was a huge. And then I started. That's when I started getting into John's work a lot. I started collecting all the old Spider-Man he had done, including the death of Gwen Stacy and all that.
Yeah.
Even though there was a lot of Gil Kane mixed in with that.
Yeah, I can only. Yeah.
But and also then the work he was doing in the dailies was tremendous. I loved it, you know. And so that's what got me into, hey, I want to, you know, Neil Adams, when I started discovering all his work in Green Lantern, the X-Men, which was around the same time in the mid-70s, mid to late 70s. That is the ones that really inspired me to go into superhero work versus the other things I had been doing up to that time.
I even love his when he did the because I came here one day and James had a bunch of them on the shelf and I bought them all. I didn't even think about the condition was when he did the electric company. He did.
I'm sure he. I'll be honest, I'm not that familiar with the electric company. I remember the show, but
he actually wrote.
I was a little old for it when it came out, so I didn't really get back into like.
Yeah, well, he drew that.
Work.
He drew that for about, I would say, about 12 issues.
Okay.
And then you saw other.
Was that at the beginning?
Huh?
Was that right at the beginning of the run, or was it?
I don't know if it was at the beginning of. You talking about the television? I mean the show.
No, the comic. When the comic came out,
he started with number one, and it was about. It might have been. About 12 or 13 issues that he drew, but it went on further than that. But it was other artists who had come in. I guess he was moved on to something else. Right. But even those
could be the Daily by that point.
Yeah,
because he in the mid '70s kind of is when he became the art director there. Like really, you know, the art director. That was just coming off the end of all this stuff that he had done his regular Spider-Man run, and then Gil Kane had taken over. He was still doing some inking here or there sporadically on it, but I think that at that point he had moved on to become the art director for Marvel, and then was doing the daily strip.
One of my prized possessions is,
at that point.
You know what my possessions is? I met him at a convention. I think it was, I don't know if it was him and his son. I don't know if it was Junior, but he was there and he signed 5 of my Marvel Tales. He signed 5 of my Marvel Tales.
Those are the reprints, right?
Yeah, the reprints, right. He signed 5 of those. I don't know why I chose to bring those instead of the book, because I had the book. But he signed those, and I'm so glad, just not for the autograph, but actually to stand for him and shake his hand. You know, saying you shaped my childhood.
Everything aside, with as far as art, also one of the best human beings you're ever going to meet in your life. Super nice, with his time, you know, all good word for people. I mean, I don't never saw a day in his life that I was around. You know, obviously he's human. He probably had that, but you know, just such a joy to work with and be around.
Yeah, I always, man, I mean, like I said, I met him at a convention. I shook his hand, but I looking at his art and seeing the interviews with him and stuff like that. I always got that impression too. I always got that impression that he just seemed like a nice guy. You know, I didn't know.
Was.
You know, he just seemed like he was a nice guy. You know, yeah.
It was very genuine. You know, it's funny too. He came up in there used to be a tradition in Manhattan with art. It was like Portfolio Day was Wednesday. So it was traditional for artists to go around to different places, either advertising places or comic books, any place where artists could find work.
Right.
And the policy was that was the day. It was open for people to come in and show their work. You know, aspiring artists in various different fields in art, and that was just the accepted norm. Wednesday was, you know, come on up, show your work. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
You know, and not everybody in the company, but a person or two were set aside to do just that. Portfolio reviews and come on up, let's see what you know. Okay. And that's unfortunately a tradition that has faded over time, but it was very cool.
Yeah. Yep. He's like one of the. I always felt, you know, seeing some of his interviews, and he was like, I don't know if I don't drink. I actually don't drink beer, but he seemed like the type of person you could sit down and have a cup of coffee with or a beer with. And
I would say, I'll be honest with you. I do him a long time. I don't know if some drink. He might have, but I not that I particularly saw. No, his son. We got some stories. Back in the day.
Do you ever get a drawing block, or does every piece that you do is an inspiration because it's new?
You know, I just go from beginning, and there's never a problem.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yes, I do. You know, because I'm a perfectionist, and sometimes I come to a problem, and it doesn't immediately get solved, and I'm like, oh, that's I get a little frustrated, and I gotta go walk away, or you know, so. Or I gotta put it aside, like she showed you that Venom, right?
Yeah.
I got to a certain point with them, like, it's not working for me. So put it aside for a little bit.
Your thing is getting ready to fall.
Review it. Oh,
Your post.
oh, it's falling again. Yeah, I think it's good. Okay, Mike, what time is it? Anyway?
It's five something.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start.
Charles.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what?
I love. No, keep talking. I love hearing y'all talk shop.
I gotta bounce. I gotta go over to the try to get the trade job. Man, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the art, and thank you for the wonderful art, the signature, and plus giving me a good vision of the.
You're quite welcome.
Of the
Give
legend.
Charles that thing too. Take a look at it for you, okay?
And it was a pleasure.
I never got your name, man.
Ed Mothershed. Edward.
Excuse me, man.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
And I hope y'all happy Easter and then
Thanks,
pleasure
man.
meeting you,
Happy Easter, everybody.
Christine.
And you want to just show them where we are real quick?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to use this and post this later.
Oh,
A little bit edited. This is pretty long.
You're right. No, it's not.
But yeah, so there were this wonderful shop first.
Yeah.
Ooh, excuse me. My Mountain Dew's coming back to me. And if you look around, this place is great.
Yeah.
And what street is this on? 55th?
55th, yeah.
Yeah, so we are in downtown Chicago, Illinois.
Well, Hyde
no?
Park, Okay, Chicago.
Not. What is it, northern suburb?
This is south.
Southern suburb.
It's actually not a suburb. It's part of the city, but we give it a name, the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Hyde Park.
Hyde Park.
Yeah.
Of Chicago.
Of
Okay,
Chicago.
so my misnomer on my part, we are in the Hyde Park area of Chicago, and you know, Charles is in Oak Park. Is that another?
Oak Park is a suburb.
That is a suburb.
That is
Okay.
a suburb.
See,
Hey, I know.
I've been here like, I don't know, 20, 30 times now, maybe 20 times. And it's still a little confused. It's such a huge city.
Right.
Massive,
Yeah. And the suburbs. Yeah.
Right, so I'm getting to learn all different parts of it every time I come in.
Yeah.
But
So the
doing
neighborhoods.
Stuff like this is great.
Yeah. So the neighborhoods have names, and it seems like they're suburbs. That's you know, it can happen.
So, yeah, so I'll have to look at more research about that, about what delineates a neighborhood from, you know, the suburbs.
I know, right? Yeah. So yeah, it was a
But
pleasure.
regardless, whatever you want to call it, it's awesome, and the shop is awesome.
Yep.
These guys have been great. Thanks for hosting us, guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks for coming.
Yep, and thank you. All right.
All right.
Signing out.
Take care. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter. All right.
All
right.
Do a high five with you. It kind of fell flat. Oh, man.
And I'm gonna cut it.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll do it. I got my inflatable video thing.
Uh,
I'll feed it in. And
Can you hand it
start
back? I want to show you
splicing
something I
it.
just discovered.
Okay.
I
So,
Oh, go ahead.
you are officially, besides just being on Amazon, which we